Hey guys, it's Qasim with Solutions 8, and in this video I want to talk to you about the number one most important thing you have to do before you run smart shopping. This is the critical prerequisite to running smart shopping. Now, a quick aside. If you're an e-commerce store owner and you haven't been running smart shopping, you gotta get on the bus. This is the single most powerful tool I've ever seen for e-commerce marketing and honestly for digital marketing in general. And I realize that sounds like mildly hyperbolic. It's not at all. This is the most effective I've ever seen digital advertising is utilizing smart shopping, which is interesting because someday smart shopping is gonna put me out of a job. What Google has done is they've built an AI engine. It's a machine learning mechanism that will go out and find people that are likely to purchase your product and push your advertising in front of them. And they're using 70 million demographic and psychographic profiling factors on every single human being on the planet, coupled with all the conversion data that they have currently on your website in order to figure out who's buying, why they're buying, when they're buying, and then go find more people to replicate those successes. It's unbelievable. It's a little scary, but it's unbelievable. So if you're not using smart shopping, you have to, but there's a step you have to take before you start running smart shopping. And it has nothing to do with Google Ads, interestingly. It has to do with your e-commerce store setup. You need to have UPC codes, also known as GTIN codes, for every single product in your e-commerce catalog. And I realize that feels like a nit. It's kind of like a small little check the box thing. It's not at all. The way that Google is cataloging these products is using GTIN codes. And by the way, for our purposes, UPC and GTIN are analogous. They're the same thing. There might be differences elsewhere for other applications that I don't understand, but in the e-commerce world, like if you jump into your Shopify account right now, you're going to notice that there's a field that says UPC or GTIN. So they're effectively treated the same thing. So if I'm switching back and forth, forgive me, it's all the same stuff. You need a UPC code for every single individual product because Google is cataloging products according to UPC code. So now Google's still reading things like product text, description, titles, etc. But it's using the UPC codes in order to build a web, no pun intended, a web in the background and identify consistencies between products across all of their e-commerce marketing campaigns. So if somebody else is marketing a product similar to yours, and they're using the UPC code that you're using, which should be the case incidentally, because UPC codes are common across products. UPC codes, by the way, this isn't a SKU. This isn't your made-up number. This is a code that you can, and I'm going to show you how, but you can find inside of a publicly accessible database. It's the common denominator. Think of it as like the social security number for each individual product. So, you know, if you've got a bottle, a water bottle, and this is a 40 ounce some sort of special hydrocell water bottle, then that's going to have its own UPC code. And so if you're selling 40-ounce water bottles and you're like, oh, okay, I can go find the UPC code for this. What's interesting about that, though, is if somebody else is selling that same size water bottle, what Google's going to be able to do is say, oh, interesting. The type of people that purchase this product are this. And, you know, this is when this happened, this is what worked, and this is what didn't. So in an interesting way, in a really cool way, you're taking advantage of, like, crowdsourced data for these products. So if you're selling t-shirts and a whole bunch of other people have sold really similar t-shirts, then Google's going to know how to treat that product. If you have a brand new custom product, you can get and create your own UPC codes. But the cautionary tale that I want to give you is don't create new UPC codes or new GTIN codes if one already exists for your product. It actually doesn't help you to be unique in this instance. It hurts you. You don't want to, you know, and I can understand somebody's thinking here where they're like, well, I'm going to go to market with this thing and maybe I'm one of the first movers and I don't want other people to be able to capitalize on my data. The issue you're going to run into is if Google's already established a precedent, if there's already a foundation built and Google's already tagged a product with a specific UPC or GTIN code, then you're going to be the outlier, which means that the information that is being used to optimize your campaign is going to be at a disadvantage. So think about it from Google's perspective. They're trying to learn everything they can about people and everything they can about products. And applying GTIN codes or UPC codes gives them, it allows them to identify all the common denominators. You need a different UPC code for every single product in your catalog. You also need a different UPC code for different variations or bundles. So let's say if you have a t-shirt and you're selling small, medium, and large, technically you need a different code for each size. Now, a pro tip here, if you don't want to go, you know, let's say you have 500,000 SKUs and you're like, dude, I am not going to do that for every single one of these. What you can do is you can choose the cheapest variable. So let's say that, you know, I have a t-shirt, small, medium, large, and it comes in three different colors, white, black, and yellow. And the small white t-shirt is the cheapest because the white color is the easiest for me to produce, and the smallest obviously is the least expensive. What I might do is get a UPC code just for the small white t-shirt, advertise that, and then when somebody clicks through from the ad, and let's say they want to upgrade and increase the size or change the color, they can do that. Now, the code that's getting the credit algorithmically is the small white t-shirt. And so you put yourself at a mild disadvantage because you're not allowing Google to catalog your entire breadth of products, so your entire product catalog. But for people that decide, like, I don't want to run through this process for every single product that I have, that's a hack, a cheat, if you will. It's not best practice compliant, though. So best practice is every single product with every single variation has its own independent code. And incidentally, these codes are available publicly, and I'm going to show you how and where and why. So there's a site that I really like to use just because it's easy, it's fast and easy. It's called instantupccodes.com. I'm not an affiliate. There's another, there's gs1.org, and gs1.org will actually give you the opportunity to search for existing UPC codes. And this is really expansive. It can actually get a little overwhelming, to be honest with you, a little confusing, but it's worth the time to invest in figuring out, what my barcode is and how it applies, and you'll notice that this allows you to get unique barcodes for unique products. So if you can't find a UPC code that's applicable to your product, you can go create one, but again, make sure you're actually being comprehensive in your search, because you don't want to put yourself at a disadvantage. If you don't have a UPC or GTIN code, this is actually going to throw an error in Google Merchant Center. You're not going to be able to run smart shopping effectively. Even if you're able to run, you'll notice that the expansion that you receive is very limited. So, critical prerequisite. I know it's a little overwhelming on one scale, but it's absolutely necessary. This is a hurdle that we have to jump with every single new client that we bring on, and honestly the client has to jump it with our tutelage, and so invest the time in doing this. It's going to really pay off significantly. I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, hit me in the comments, give me a thumbs up if you want me to get a dopamine hit, subscribe if you want to see a video every single day, and otherwise, thanks for your time. I'll see you tomorrow.